Hi, this is Kelly Borsheim. Are you ready for another self-critique here? I hope this will help you with your painting or your creating of any kind. As you discover what it is you want to do and why you want to do it, is a lot of helpful things. So anyway, I want to explain what I'm doing here. This is a painting of acrylic on paper. And it's because I bought a bunch of frames some years ago, and I need to put something in them so that I can start organizing my house and breathe a little bit easier. But really what this is a project for me to play, because it's very important to play and experiment and try to move into a different realm. It may not look different from you from other things that I've done, but I know I'm trying new things that I feel are new for me. I really like monochromatic stuff, so color for me is a challenge. But I did an underpainting. Okay, so this is a village in Tuscany called Castelvecchio, and you can see it's got the little church tower and all that kind of stuff. And then this is going to be a bright, it's forsythia. It's a flower that grows on long stems and big bright yellow flowers. It's very exotic. My husband used to put them in flower bouquets that he would give me for, Valentine's Day, birthday, anniversary, that kind of thing. Anyway, I have a sentimental connection to them, but also there was a man I knew in the village who had these growing in this campo here, and one day I captured the photo. It's over there. I'll post it in the thing, I hope. I took this photo in March of 2019, and I always thought, oh, it'd be fun to paint this. So anyway, I don't like what's going on here, just to be sure. I mean, maybe it's okay, but it's really not what I want. But I'm experimenting, and I'm also in the transition stage. So, for example, I did an underpainting of this bright purple here. It's a dark purple because I want it to be the shadow of the branches and stuff like that, and give some depth to the plant, which is why I put it in there. So this was all purple when I started. Now, this is the underpainting of the village. I used a alizarin crimson type red and a more of a warmer red. So I've got two reds with the white playing against it, and I haven't colored in all of it, I haven't developed it, but I just wanted to basically block in where the shapes are and kind of have an idea of my proportions and all that. Okay, I put blues in the street, purple in the sky, and then blue, and then I did orange underneath the hills in the background, and then covered up with sort of a gray greenish kind of thing. Alright, so now that's what I'm doing, and if this turns out to be a great painting, great, but if it's not, it's okay, because I want to think of this as not being precious, which is a word that I learned from Louise Fletcher when I took her course on, expanding your art stuff and play and finding your own voice kind of thing. She's a really good teacher. So I like this idea that it's not precious, because a lot of times, especially because art is the only way I make a living, I tell myself it has to be perfect, or it has to be sellable, it has to be everything, or, and that's just not true. A lot of times we have to do a lot of different things that most people are never even going to see, and it's to help us grow and to help us get to a level of mastery, that kind of thing. So anyway, all that aside, I was thinking of my friend and mentor, Vasily Fedoruk, trained in Ukraine with the Russian sort of system of, go do this, and leaves and try to let you figure it out. It's not quite that hard, their education system, but the stuff that he tells me, it's certainly different from how Americans learn. So he would say when he was teaching in the States, and hide your eyes, hide your ears, kid, Americans always want to learn with the shit sandwich. It's like, okay. First, you have to give a compliment. That's the first piece of bread. Then you give the actual critique, the negative stuff. That's the meat of the sandwich. And then you have to finish that by putting another piece of bread, which is another compliment on it. So the most dramatic thing of that would be, this is a real horrible thing that you're making. But you picked a nice stone. How I'm going to begin it. You picked a nice stone. You did a really bad job on the rest of this. And then, but by the way, this is not a bad thing that you did. So this is kind of what it reminds me. So let me do that with myself here. Okay, I like the washy texture that I'm getting here. Parts of it. I like the shape of the village there. I like this, and I did okay with the hills and stuff there. But let's get to the actual critique, okay? Because the compliments and stuff don't help me move forward. I don't want to be in a negative mindset. I want to be happy and joyful, but I don't also want to be Mr. Yes Man. So anyway, let's start with a few things. I want to start with shapes first. Okay, this little road that's going down here that Corrado put in, it doesn't connect up to this road right like this. And I don't like the idea that I don't like it that I connected this, so I'm going to get rid of some of this so it disappears in the woods. And this, I need to bring this more horizontal, okay? But the another reason that even made me pay attention to that is because I worked to put this village, instead of having it exactly on the halfway mark, I moved it over a wee bit this way because I wanted to avoid being perfectly symmetrical. There's nothing wrong with symmetry. That's my personal vision, okay? So remember, when you give your critique on your own work, remember where you want to go. Okay, so I don't like this point came straight down here to connect with that. You see what I mean? For me, that was just like too much symmetry for it. So I want to straighten out this horizon a little bit, and I'll probably cut this right about here. And this will disappear into the woods and stuff like that. You're still going to have the idea it's a road, and you may or may not think it's going to connect to that. Maybe it's not what I want you to think about when you look at the painting, but you know, people study stuff. So this shape I don't particularly like. This shape of the green I also don't like. It is also too symmetrical. And that, I think, is a tendency, even for somebody like me that prefers asymmetrical stuff. I think our brain still likes to put order into things. So I want to make this maybe narrow up here, but I want this shape to come down a little bit of, you know, I don't want, it is a triangle point here, but I don't want the evenness to be here. I don't necessarily know how to describe this, but I'm going to do that here. This is a little farm that the neighbor behind this guy has been doing, so it doesn't really matter if you know what it is, because I kind of want to paint impressionistic-like, and I don't want you to have to sit there and have to label everything. I want you to feel something, and that's what I'm really trying to experiment, is feeling, using color to feel something. So anyway, those are some shapes. The shapes of the villages I'm fine with. I may refine stuff here and there and whatever, and then this will develop, because a lot of the part with the forsythia has to be painted, the stuff behind it has to be painted first. I don't like this particularly bright color of green, but until I actually get the other colors closer to what I really want, it may be that might be fine. Part of me is thinking it's not warm enough of a color. But anyway, so the main thing is these hills. When I stand back there and look at it, thinking about Notan, and that I also tend to like high contrast, I don't know if I could ever do a high key painting. That means midtones and lights. I always have to have some kind of darkness in there because my brain just likes the yin yang of it all. But I like high key paintings. I just don't know that I could do them. But maybe that's a different experiment. Anyway, I did this having the underlying of the orange and then with the kind of a gray-green on top of it. But I really want to push this one darker. I concentrate on doing it lighter because I'm using acrylics, and I know that acrylics dry darker than when you apply them. So I want to darken this to put in a contrast with this and this, because this here is my subject. This is probably the real subject, but this is going to take up a lot of real estate. But either way, this is going to be a midtone. This is going to be maybe a light to a midtone. So I want to make this a little darker, but it still needs to look like it's receding if I want to stay in the realistic world a little bit. So those are the things I'm going to be working on now. I'm not even worried about the sky just yet, because I'll probably do that when I'm, trying to figure out what else to do with myself. So anyway, I think that might be it for this review. Every time I take a pause, and usually every time when I wake up in the morning, I move, I see the painting and I think, oh, something didn't fit my brain right. Sometimes I need a lot of time to decide that kind of thing, and that's okay too. So thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please comment, please ask your questions, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to support that. I would love to get up to 500 subscribers. That would be amazing. and also view minutes and stuff like that. So anything you can do that will help, but it'll help me decide, is this content interesting, or should I try to do something else to, help. All right. Thank you for watching. Ciao, ciao.